Hi friends, welcome to a Lovely Yarn podcast. My name is Amber and today is June 21st, first day of summer. So, longest day of the year, favorite. And it's actually really nice here in Western Pennsylvania. Well, I think it's nice. I like hot weather. It's supposed to be in the 90s this week. Some people don't like that. But I myself do not mind it, because we have a lot of cold, dreary weather for the majority of the year, so it's always nice to have these hot, sunny days. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for both new and returning viewers. I have not recorded for such a long time. It's been so busy, and I knew that. I don't even know when I recorded last. I would guess it was sometime in April. May and the first half of June were extremely busy for me. I graduated my middle child, who I had homeschooled his entire education. So we finished up that in May, and then just getting him, you know, ready for what he needed to do for the next step. And then just end of year homeschool wrap up and evaluations and portfolios and all that, and just a just a lot of stuff going on. And I honestly kind of lost the desire to knit for a while because I was just so busy. And I'm back though. Summer is just a busy time for me, and I don't know that I podcast. Honestly, I've never been a consistent podcaster, so I don't even know what I'm saying. I've never been consistent with my podcast schedule. I just kind of I'm more of the type of person that I like routine and structure, but I also like to be able to do things when I want to do them, things that aren't necessary. There's so many of things in my life I have to do at specific times, so when it comes to my crafting and podcasting, I like to be able to do it when I actually feel like doing it. So yes, that is why I haven't been here for a while, but thank you anyway. If you came back, thank you. Okay, so if you're here for the very first time and you've never watched my podcast before, my name is Amber, as I already said. My family and I live in a rural area in Western Pennsylvania. Probably about, I think we're like 45, 50 miles from Pittsburgh. I always, when we go on vacation and people ask us where we're from, we just say Pittsburgh, because the town we live nearest to is actually quite small, and most people don't know it if you're out of state, or if you're out of the western side of the state. Most people aren't going to know the town that we live near. But I have 3 children. My oldest is grown and married, and I have my middle child just graduated from high school and is heading on to college in the fall. And then my youngest is 16, and so she is doing all the fun things that, you know, a teenager does, and she has her learner's permit, and she's practicing to get her license. So yeah, I am shifting into a new season of motherhood, which has been interesting to me. And some of you I know have actually been with me since my blogging days, which I used to keep a blog when my kids were little, back in the days before Instagram and all this online stuff really took off. You know, we read blogs. That's what I did when I was a young mom. I read blogs and I kept a blog. So I'm now shifting into a new season of motherhood that you know, it's fine. I'm just kind of like, in fact, for my son's graduation party, which we already had, I put together a couple of photo boards, and so I was looking back through our photo albums and just getting pictures from, you know, each stage of his life. And it was so, it kind of made me sad, because, you know, you don't get those years back. But I'm so gracious and thankful. I'm so grateful and thankful that I was able to homeschool my kids and, you know, be able to be home with them, because I'm super thankful for that. But anyway, so that's my little intro, and we're going to go ahead and get started in the knitting. I actually have 3 finished projects and only 1 whip. And that whip is almost done. But we're going to be going on a vacation to Maine here soon. And so I am doing some planning because, you know, us knitters, we have to have at least, I like to have at least 2 knitting projects to take with me on vacation because that's how I am. I typically have at least 2 knitting projects going at a time because if I get bored with one, then I can switch to the other one. And so I also travel the same. Which, speaking of Maine, we go to Acadia National Park. And we typically stay right in town in Bar Harbor, but we're going to stay about 20 minutes away, more on the western side of the island. And our home is right on the bay. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm hoping it's going to be, it just looks like really peaceful and serene. And I'm going to take my knitting and I'm going to take all my watercolor supplies because the home and the pier and everything just looks like the best place to sit in watercolor. So I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, let's get started on my works in progress my finished objects. And the first one I'm going to show you is one that I actually asked advice for last time I posted, and you guys were so helpful in offering suggestions on how I could fix the hem. And that was super helpful. So thank you guys so much. Okay, so this is my Goldenfern by Jennifer Steingass. I think that's what it's called. Okay, so here it is. Look at that color work. I love that color work on the bottom. It's really beautiful color work. But I think I'm ripping this out. Which makes me so sad because it's a fingering. Okay, so it makes me sad, but I've learned some things through this whole process. This is the first ever fingering weight colorwork sweater I've knitted, and I've decided I've decided that if I ever knit another fingering weight colorwork sweater, I'm going to be very particular about what type of yarn I use. It's going to have to be a non-superwash, and it's going to have to be a toothier yarn, because even when I was knitting this, I wasn't really fully enjoying it. Don't have the extra skein. So this like deep purple, this eggplant color is Knit Picks Hawthorne. I think the colorway is called Eugene. I'll look that up and include it below. And I don't like the fit of this sweater. I tried it on. It's blocked. I didn't weave the ends in because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. So I left the ends unwoven. They're still hanging. And I tried it on this morning and I was like, I do not like this sweater. I'm not going to wear this sweater. It doesn't fit nice. And I just really don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like I like this. I like to see that beautiful color work. And actually I'm wondering how I can just cut my knitting and just salvage this. I saw Tara from a Loop Through a Loop. She actually cut up, was it a sweater or was it a shawl? She had some sort of knitting that she cut and turned into a bag or a basket. But it was a bulkier yarn that she used, so it could stand upright. This is super drapey. So I would have to do something like cut it and turn it into maybe a pillow. Maybe I could do like a bolster pillow. Even though this color really doesn't match my house, but actually my house is very eclectic cottage, so it would fit right in actually. So the problems with the sweater. First of all, it's way too big in the yoke. Way too big in the yoke. And when I was knitting this, I actually made the size for my bust with the recommended positive ease. And as I was knitting it, I was like, this looks like it's gonna be too big on me. I don't like tight fitting stuff. Like I do not like anything tight, but I don't like things over baggy either. Oops, sorry, I'm on the floor. I stretched my legs out. I'm just gonna get comfortable here. Haven't talked to you guys for so long. So what I ended up doing is somewhere in here, maybe when I got to split for the sleeves, I don't remember, I actually stopped increasing my stitches so that I was on the track to knit the smaller side, like the one size down from what I originally started knitting. Does that make sense? Okay, so I did that and finished up the rest of the sweater in that size. However, it's so big on here, and part of that is because this is superwash yarn. And so here's another thing with why I will not knit another color work sweater in superwash. Okay, you need to wet block color work, right? To get the nice finished look, you need to be able to wet block this. However, this very big yoke did not, like, it maybe would have fit better if I would have just like sprayed it and made it damp and then just kind of spread it out so that it would block. But realistically, it was going to happen anyway eventually. I was going to have to deal with the largeness of this because I eventually am going to need to wash this sweater. So I'll try it on and show you what I mean. Okay. You can probably already see that it is like, look at all this bigness. I know that's not really the correct way to say, but okay, let me get, so here is the bottom, which by the way, I ended up doing a rolled hem, which was perfect for, I like how that turned out. But because color work pulls in anyway, it's pulling in around my waist. It's fine, it fits. Let me see if I can adjust this a bit. So it fits here fine, okay? It's all good there, okay? But we get up here and it just feels, look, see, it's so loose compared to this that I don't feel comfortable in it. And you can see it's a yoke increase, so there is some puckering here, which I think it's because the size is too big for me. So I also, so the pattern calls for a hem, like a 1x1 or a 1x2 hem, which that's what I asked you guys about last time. I needed some different suggestions. Let me put this back up. So you guys had suggested all kinds of things, and I decided just to go with just doing the stockinette and getting a rolled hem, which I'm happy with. I like how that turned out. And then I also ended up, I was going to make balloon sleeves instead of decreasing and making the form-fitted sleeves, but then I decided I wanted to do this is a little bit longer than 3/4 length. So like 3 inches below my elbow, and doing a rolled hem for that, so that that hem on the sleeves rolled the hem on the sweater, or matched it. But I just don't like this. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna rip it out right now, but I'm gonna wait and see if maybe it grows on me. But this sweater is making me want to stop knitting sweaters, because, well, between this project and the next one that I'm going to show you here in a little bit, my one whip I have, it's making me completely lack confidence in my sweater knitting, because if I knit a sweater and I like how it fits me, I'm going to wear it. But it seems like often there's something about the sweaters I knit. Like, I have multiple sweaters that I don't even wear. I need to rip them out. They're either too small, or too big. Like, but I also have a fair amount that I really like as well. So it's not like every sweater that I've knit has turned out horrible. I need to take this off. Like I said, it's near 90 today and I don't have our air conditioner on. So I'm getting warm. But it's just really hard. You guys know when you spend hours knitting a sweater just to find out that it's not going to work for you, it's just disheartening. And I think going from this one to the one I'm going to show you later is just making me really want to just stop all the sweaters and just make a bunch of shawls. I don't wear shawls this time of year, of course. I don't wear sweaters typically this time of year, but and I already have a ton of shawls, but I really enjoy the process of shawl knitting. I think I know that I actually enjoy the process of shawl knitting way more than sweater knitting, because sweater knitting, I love doing color work sweaters, but once I get past the color work, I get really bored with all the tubular stockinette, and so then it always feels like a chore. I was thinking about this, like, I think I'm definitely a product knitter. I see something I want and I knit it, but I want to just get the item, and I don't always enjoy the process of making the item. I'm more like, okay, let's just get through so I can get this thing that I want and then move on to make the next thing that I want. Now, I'm totally different when it comes to spinning my yarn, because I love the process of spinning yarn, but I hardly use my hand spun. I have a whole shelf, like you can't see it in this frame, but up above me, it's completely filled with all my hand spun. I think I've only ever used my hand spun to make 3 projects total, which is kind of pathetic, but I actually like the process of spinning, and I don't really think about using the end product, where with knitting, I'm totally different. I want the end product, and I enjoy knitting, but I'm more like, I just want the end product. I want this thing that I want. Which is why when you get something that, look at this, it's huge and it's superwash, which I know superwash can really stretch when it's, you know, made wet. And I was worried about that. I think if I would have just went down, probably, see, I'm not real broad in the shoulders. Where I need more width is in my waist area, because I have a very short torso. So I don't really have a waist. And then of course, you know, I'm a mother, so you have that extra motherly weight right around the waist. So I don't like anything tight around my waist, because I don't like to bring attention to that area. But up here I am smaller. So I think if I were to do this again, which right now I'm not even thinking about it because I'm annoyed with it, not with the pattern, just with the whole process of this, I would probably go down 2 sizes on the top and then maybe increase until I got to where I needed to be for the color work on the bottom. That's probably what I would do. Done with that. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. I'm actually going to stick it somewhere and not think about it for a while, because I just can't. It makes me sad. I spend all those hours. And again, that probably is because I'm a product knitter. And the fact that I don't like the finished product makes the hours I spent doing it seem like a waste of my time. When really it's not. I learned. I really am shying away from superwash yarn for any kind of garments that are to be worn on, like any sweaters. I want to say I'm done using superwash, but I'm not going to say that, because I have knit some sweaters in superwash that have been fine, but you just don't really know what you're going to get until the very, very end. When you have your item all knitted and blocked, that's when you truly know what it's going to look like if you're using superwash yarn. So when you use non-superwash and the woolier knitting or woolier yarn, you it kind of, it doesn't really change its shape a ton. I mean, it does some, of course, but not like superwash. So I learned that. And no more colorwork fingering weight sweaters for me either. I just, unless it's a toothier, woollier yarn, because I just didn't enjoy that as much. So, okay, moving on. Goldenfern is done mostly, but probably going to be ripped out. Okay, next object that I finished. Oh, I love these. These are a cute pair of socks. So when I was trying to figure out how I was going to finish up that Goldenfern as far as my hem, when I was going back and forth with all of your suggestions and trying to get it all straight in my head, I thought I just need a simple project. I just need a simple project that I don't have to really think about. So I knit these pair of socks. How fun are these? And I used a pattern. These are DK weight. I used the pattern that I will link below because I don't remember the name of it. Can you tell this? I'm podcasting on a whim. So it's by Erica of Rose Opal Knits. They have a podcast. And she wrote a pattern, it's a free pattern on Ravelry for DK weight socks. So what I did to get this effect is I just used some undyed sock yarn. And another preference of mine with knitting is I really enjoy knitting socks. I've knitted a lot of socks. I have knitted, I think, 3 pairs with non-superwash wool, and I don't really plan on doing that anymore because every single pair that I've done had developed holes in them relatively quickly. And some of the hole, like the one pair, it's in the heel of the toe or the heel of the foot. The other one, it's on the bottom of like the ball of the foot. And then the third pair is on the back of the heel. So every pair of socks has developed a hole in a different place. And I was just like, no, I'm done. I am done with the non-nylon socks because they just, you know, again, that's because I'm a product knitter probably. So this is just a one-of-a-kind yarn from my friend Jody of Flower Hill Fleeces, and this is just an undyed. And I did, I held the yarn double through the whole project. So for the cuffs and the toes, I held the white double or the off-white double. And then for the rest of the sock, I held these two together and it gave this really pretty marled look. It's so fun. Now this, let me see here. This yarn looked similar to this when it was skeined up because this is also from Jody, and it was very it was actually, I think, the same dyes just used on different bases. So this one is like a shinier and it's a lower, no, it's a higher twist. This one's a lower twist and more matte. It's more matte, like it's not as shiny. I don't know if you can see that. I think you can. But this is similar to what it looked like. And then when you combine it with the white, you get that. And these were fun, and I think I knit these in a week. They were so fast. And I decided I really like to knit DK weight socks because, oh, they're like, oh, they're going to be wonderful boot socks because they're so nice and sturdy. So check out Erica's pattern. It is a really good pattern. I can't remember if I did the heel. I did a slip stitch heel, and I don't know if that was included in her pattern because I typically do slip stitch heels. So I don't know if that was the pattern or the heel that she had in her pattern, or if I just went with that. But I will say I did her toe, which I don't remember what she called it, but you're basically going in a circle and decreasing 4 different places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So like 4 different places the whole way around, rather than normally what I do is knit, is it a wedge toe maybe? Where you decrease on this, just on 2 sides, and then you Kitchener stitch it shut. Where with this, you decrease, 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 decrease. And I think I even may have decreased a little bit quicker at the very end of the toe. And then you're left with, I don't know, maybe 8 stitches, and you know, just pull your yarn through those stitches to close it. But it was a good pattern. I'll use it again for sure the next time I want to make a pair of DK weight socks. So these were really fun and I love them. And lately with my socks that I've been knitting, I've been giving them away, but unless I feel, because what happens is I have so many hand knit socks that I finish a pair and I stick them in my sock drawer, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not going to wear those yet. I'm going to wear the ones that I already have that are already worn. And then it's like, I get this feeling that I should give a pair of socks to somebody. And when I normally do that, it's because they're normally going through something rough. And so I normally pray over the socks and pray for that person. And then I wrap them up and give them to them as a gift. And so I am not going to wear these, of course, anytime soon because it is summer in Pennsylvania. So I am going to stick them in my drawer, but I'm planning, unless I'm otherwise led, I'm planning on keeping these for myself. They're so much fun. And I have a ton of yarn left. I definitely have more of this one because I did the cuff and the toes with the white. So I think I have enough to make another pair, actually. Well, maybe not of this, but definitely of this. And definitely of a fingering weight if I wanted to do fingering weight. And I knit this on, I forget which, I used the US2 Chalgu, the red circulars. These are my favorite. The 9-inch circulars, they're my favorite knitting needles for socks. And I'm trying to think, I think I did the 48 stitch cast on. She had, I believe, 3 different sizes in that pattern. And I think the one I chose was the middle size. Okay, my last FO was actually a test knit that I did for Haley of Ozetta. And it's so funny because back when I first started following Haley, it was pre-Instagram days, and I followed her on Etsy, and she crocheted and she knitted bulky hats, and I was also doing the same thing at that time. And she sold them on Etsy. And so it's been really interesting to see her transition from selling finished products to writing knitting patterns. So she put a call out for test knitters. I think it was it at the end of April, for this stinking adorable knot top bag. So here you kind of, it's one of these, and you tie the top. Okay. And it's so fuzzy, and I love that because, so her pattern, the yarn that she used was Wool Dreamers Manchalopus held together with a mohair and silk. But I had a bunch of Nuteedin yarn. I actually have up top there a whole entire basket of it that I bought back when Carolyn and Canute first started with their wool mill, like way back. They've become so popular now, and you hear everyone talking about Nuteedin yarn. But actually I think the yarn I bought, the first time I bought it was off of their first release, which I don't, how many years has that been now? 3 or 4? Well, it was definitely maybe 2019, 2018. And I bought again off of their like 3rd release. So I'm not going to get into their yarn because I think most of you probably know about it at this point. They used to, even before they spun the yarn. It's unspun, by the way. It's spun, but not highly spun. It's like, is it Plutalope or Letlope? I don't know, because I don't typically use those yarns. They're way too itchy for me. But it's like that. It's an unspun. So, oh, I'm like, where is the yarn? It's in the bag. But isn't that so, that's so adorable. Look at that thing. It's so adorable. I didn't block mine either, by the way, because it's a bag, so I didn't really feel the need to block it. But here's the Nutiden. I think some people pronounce it Nutiden, and I don't know what the correct way is to do it. Of course, it's not going to focus. There you go. I don't know what color this is because, like I said, it was years ago that I purchased it, and it's, you know, they release the colors like it's a one-time thing, and then it's done. Every batch they do is a special blend, and then they don't do the blend again typically. So I knitted my bag with this, and then with an undyed mohair silk, and this was the result that I got. There we go. So the really interesting thing about this bag is that it has a double layered bottom, which is brilliant. As I was test knitting it, I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, I think this is going to be a double layer on the bottom, which is great because then it gives it more structure. And so yeah, you just start down here, and then, you know, I mean, it's a paid for pattern, so you'd have to buy the pattern to get it. But I will say it's super cute. It was really fun to knit. I will knit another one, and it's good. It's going to be perfect for like sock projects. And the pattern is thick enough, and the yarn, like all the fuzziness of the yarn, really like pulls everything together nicely. And I don't see a problem with stuff coming through the sides, which, you know, sometimes when you do, like I've made crocheted market bags before, and you can't put anything small in those bags because it's just gonna fall out. I don't see this being a problem, that being a problem with this bag. So yes, this is the Bindle Bag by Ozetta, and it has been released. So if you're interested in buying that pattern, you will be able to get it. It's really cute. Okay, and now my last little thing, whips, which I only really have one. I will say, so we went camping in May, and I took my memory blanket, cozy memory blanket, oops, miter square blanket, and I added on a whole bunch of squares. This, I don't even know when I started this thing, a long time ago, and look, it's not even really all that big yet. It might become a baby blanket for a future grandchild because, yeah, it's just taken me forever. But I don't mind. I think it's because I made the squares so little. I picked up, so each side has 16 stitches, and so that doesn't make for a very big square, and I think that's why it feels like it's taking so long, because of course you've got all these ends, which I stay on top of weaving ends in, because that would be really overwhelming to get to the end of this blanket and have to weave in every single end. So I just, once I get a whole row across, and then the top one on top of that, then so 2 rows, I'll weave in the ends from the row below. So I have been working on that, and that's what I've actually been using. Okay, you're gonna hear some crunching. Remember when I did the Row 1 subscription for 3 or 4 months? It was so easy just to throw these all. I threw them in my little bag when we went camping, and then I just was adding from these. And these squares, because they're so tiny, they hardly take up any of this yarn. Okay, that's it. So that's not, I mean, it is a whip, but it's been such a long-standing whip. But I probably put 7 squares on that weekend we were camping. Okay, but this is my big whip. I'm actually excited about this, but I'm also having mixed feelings because I feel like I think it might be too big in the end. So this is the Tip Top Tank by Maker. I'm not sure how I'm going to show this to you. Okay, so I might have. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm going to pop a picture in. I'm going to pop a picture in here. That way you can see what it looks like. Okay, now that you have seen what it's supposed to look like, I will show you this as best as I can. Okay, so let me kind of get up a bit. keep everything together. And so how's this gonna hit me? It's gonna be like right. This is a bottom up, which is why this is so hard to show you. Okay, yeah, so it's not, you get the gist. You get the gist, right? All right. So I did my gauge, and I knit it. I started on the size that I thought I would need, and then I thought this looks too big, so I ripped it out and I went down one size. And I've still, the whole time through this project, I've been wondering if this is going to be too big still. And I'm using a drops yarn. It's Drops Bell, and this is a plant-based yarn. So hold on here. Cotton, viscose, and linen. I'll put the color. It's a nice neutral color. I'll put it down below in case you're interested. But anyway, this is a free pattern, so that is nice. I was going to use a different pattern for this yarn. I think I even talked about it in my last podcast, and then I decided that I actually wanted to do this pattern. And it has like a little bit of a split hem on the side. And here's the front. So the cups are done on the front. It's a V-neck. I like V-necks. They elongate my short torso, so I tend to gravitate toward V-necks. So you knit your front, and then you knit your straps up to the top of your shoulders, and then you turn around to the back, and this is what I'm getting ready to do, and you do the same thing. Back Porch Fiber Co. marker right there. Her markers are so pretty. There we go. They're so pretty. I will mark her. I will link her down below as well. So, but it just seems kind of wide. I don't know. I just thought, you know what? I'm just gonna keep going, and now I'm to the point where I just want to finish it so I can try it on and see what the verdict is gonna be. I'm not really worried about it stretching a whole lot when I block it because it is plant fiber and it's not, so that's not going to be overly stretchy. But it just looks kind of wide. But other than that, it has a really, really nice drape. It feels really good. I love the color of it. I think that if it actually fits me, it's going to be something I wear a lot in the summer because it's I knit it to a good I think anyway. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell because I can't really try it on. I pulled it up. I pulled it up on me. But I don't know. I don't know, guys. If two sweaters in a row don't fit, if they're both too big, I might just stop sweater knitting for a while. That's probably a lie, though. I probably won't. But does anybody else out there understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I really like this pattern. I will knit this pattern again. I was already thinking, what kind of yarn can I get? But I'm trying not to buy yarn right now because I have a lot of yarn. I get overwhelmed. I'm actually overwhelmed with the amount of yarn. And for the last year, I've been thinking about selling a bunch of my yarn because I'm just feeling, I mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just like, I'm like, I don't know. Am I ever going to knit through all of this? I don't know. So I'm not wanting to buy more yarn, and I don't know that I have any that would work for this because I feel like this tank is definitely more for a plant-based yarn, and I don't have any more plant-based yarn in my stash. I had to buy this yarn specifically for this project because I don't really prefer to knit with them, but I will say this, I'm not minding this. It's not like hurting my hands or anything. I mean, it doesn't have stretch, but that's because of what it's made from. And it's not, I've knit with some plant-based fibers that I really don't like, and this isn't one of them. So yeah, I'm going to try to have this finished by the end of the week so that I can get it all. So you knit the back the same as the front, and then you'll do a 3 needle bind off of the straps right at the top of the shoulder. That's how that works. So yeah, I've got, but again, this is her really cute from Laura of the Back Porch Fiber Co. And then on the front, I have another really cute stitch marker. Let me find it. Oh, two of them. This little one, it's a little leaf. And where did it go? That's so weird. I literally just saw it. I'm so confused. This is so confusing. Oh, there it is. It was caught in hiding. Okay, wait, there. And the little house, that's by Simply Sarah Knits. She makes like the really lightweight polymer clay stitch markers. Okay, so that is it. I think I told you everything about all the projects. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see what happens with my tip top tank. I hope it turns out, because I actually am thinking if this is too big, I'm actually thinking about immediately ripping it out and just starting it over, because I do think I am pretty like confident that I will wear that shirt a lot. And so, plus I have to be honest, I mean, this hasn't really taken me that long to knit. And I really, really like I would say this is a DK weight yarn. And I like the fabric. It's nice, and it's not see-through, you know, like a lot of the summery patterns are a little bit too, yeah, some of them are just too scandalous for me. Even the one I made my daughter, what was that called? The Easy Bralette, that Jessie made one. Made with fingering weight, and my needles were correct. People kept saying, maybe you're using too large of a needle. And I did it first, but even after I corrected that and went to the right needle size, it's still a very open gauge. So I would have to be really particular about what kind of yarn I made that with. And I don't see myself wearing one of those. But this is nice. The yarn fills in the spaces really nicely. See, like, I mean, you can see my hand back there, but you can't see my hand. You know what I'm saying? This is much more my speed. Here, if I hold it upside down, you kind of get an idea. But doesn't it look wide? I don't know. I don't know. It could just be me. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so yes, I'll keep you guys updated with that. And then okay, so I need, like I said, we're going to be leaving for a vacation here soon. And I have a very long car ride. So I think it takes us about 16 hours to get there. I want to knit a shawl. And I'm really craving like a simple shawl with maybe some fan and feather in it, some garter ridge. I also saw one from Heidi May Designs called Wonder Forever that has some eyelets in it. And I forget who knitted one that I saw on Instagram, but they used minis, and it looks like the shawl is knit from one end and then you increase and then you go to the other end and decrease. And the one I saw on Instagram, which I think I may have saved it on my Instagram, they used a bunch of minis, and so it looked striped, and that was really fun. The only thing with that is that that's a lot to have to pack, a bunch of minis. I think I'd rather just work with like a skein or two of yarn. Our vehicle is not big at all. We have a Subaru Crosstrek, so we have to pack lightly, and there's not a lot of leg room, so I can't have a bunch of extra. So any traveling projects that are like simple enough that you can still converse with the people around you, but yet interesting enough that you don't get bored knitting on it for hours in a row. If you have any of those suggestions, I would love to hear them, please. And I'm so looking forward to going to Maine. We haven't been there since 2019. And my oldest son Sergey and his wife are coming as well, so that'll be exciting because, you know, that's the first time we've gone on vacation with them. I just love Maine. I love it so much. I just love being outside, which is why I really love this time of year. All the green, the blue, all the life. I am just I feel so free when I'm out in nature. When I go to cities and I'm in town a lot, or if I'm around busy places a lot, I feel very overstimulated and it tires me out. But I can go out into the woods, or even we're so blessed to live here where we have like acres to just roam. And I literally just feel so much lighter. I could not live in a city. I mean, unless God said, Amber, you need to move to the city, I couldn't do it. I'd be like, no, that is not how I don't understand people who want to live in cities. Like, I mean, I don't care if they do. My brain does not register how that would be a pleasant experience. I just love being out in open spaces, not having a lot of people, not having a lot of noise. It's just, yeah, I must be easily overstimulated. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it here. I don't know how long this is going to end up being, but I do want to end it because I don't want to just keep rambling on. But I appreciate you guys watching, and when you leave comments and stuff, that's always so encouraging to me, and I love being able to just read them. It's a big blessing. So thank you so much for following along. Take care and have a wonderful summer.